to the setup. Today is an extremely special episode, especially for me, because right here in the studio is my brother. Now, together we are brothers and such, and this is the first episode of Brothers and Such presents the setup featuring Brothers and Such. And sitting next to me is my brother. Say hi to the folks.
What's up, guys? It's gonna be really fun today. We're gonna be talking about Assassin's Creed, the movie. So, in case I want to just warn you guys right now. If you haven't watched the movie,
you're doing yourself a disservice
right now. Yeah.
Like
you might want to. I don't know, if you care about spoilers, then
don't watch
just
the video.
don't listen to this right now. Might as well just turn it off because that's just gonna be full of spoilers.
We're not holding anything
discussing
back.
the movie exactly in length. When we were watching the movie, it seemed really amazing to us. I think that this was like probably one of the best video game based movies has ever been made.
I'm gonna say it right now. I don't think there could have been a better interpretation of Assassin's Creed done since this movie. Like this is how I would envision an Assassin's Creed movie being made, because it understood what it was. It's not a director saying, I have an opinion and this is my story. Because nobody goes to see a movie for the director. No one's there for the director. We want to see a video game represented into a movie, not a director's vision of a video game represented in a movie.
Well, I mean, I kind of disagree. I mean, it really does depend on the director. I mean, who's gonna...
I highly doubt that, because we've had plenty of directors make plenty of video game based movies and they were all trash. Need for Speed gave it a story. There is no story in Need for Speed. Everyone plays that game for the beautiful cars and the upgrades.
They did their own little spin on it, You think, like, before we even go and discuss about the movies, I just want to say, I'm looking at the ratings, some of the movie got, and, IMDb has 6.9, out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes is 20%, 36% Metacritic, and to me this baffles me. It really does, because, again, as Alex was saying, this movie, it really did hit the nail on the head when it came to representing Assassin's Creed. So
one of the things that we definitely enjoyed was the Animus, the new interpretation of the Animus, because in the video game from Assassin's Creed 1, 2, and 3, 4, even down to the latest one, although all the Animus was a bed. The main guy just lied down on the bed and then he just took over.
Well, I mean, in recent video games we don't really know. I mean, they've just showed they have like a first person view, and so you don't really know who he's.
Yeah, but clearly this is not like. So the video games are much more different than the movie, because they gave the main character a character and a defined personality. In the other games, the character was built from his past ancestors. So nobody liked Desmond because his character wasn't a character. His character was just a viewpoint, a mirror into the world. Yeah. But with this movie, Michael Fassbender is amazing in his role. Like, he is incredible. He feels every inch of an assassin, and then he feels every inch as kind of an everyman who's really has nothing left and is able to rise up like a phoenix out of the ashes and become a new person. This movie has some of the best CGI I've seen all year. The Leap of Faith is quite possibly the best interpretation of what I would believe a Leap of Faith would be done in real life.
Oh yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, the leap of faith scene is definitely one of those things that you're going to be looking forward to during the entire movie, the way they filmed it. And we were kind of watching how they filmed that specific scene. And this was supposedly like one of the the tallest like free fall jumps that they did.
I think 1931.
So even though it's CGI, the fact that they still did it, yeah. I mean, it was amazing. But overall, I mean, obviously, the movie takes place, in the 15th century, right? So this is where Fassbender's character goes back, and look at his ancestors' eyes. I like the whole historical aspect, because this was taking time during the Inquisition. This was, and also part of the Reconquista, when Spain was finally taken back, its lands from
Turkish,
from the Moors,
from the
Moors at that time. So it was set in this place, and it was really great. I mean, because you have this like little historical background, and obviously they're demonizing the hell out of the Templars.
Oh,
as righteous as you should.
It should be noted that the Templars weren't just cruel, barbaric monsters looking to kill everything.
Oh, I mean, in the video games, they're the bad guys.
But the point of the video game is that you have to feel like the hero. You can't have sympathy for the villains, because then you won't kill them in awesome and gruesome ways, like we love to do.
I mean, the things some of the Templars that were doing. I mean, they're burning people, during the Inquisitions, killing people in broad daylight. Other things you're just kind of like, oh, okay, this is just a the historical background to everything. So it's pretty cool. I mean, it's taking place in 1492, so I'm spoiler right now. You're gonna see Christopher Columbus.
Now, it doesn't play a pivotal role, but it's very interesting to see that the creators of this movie understand Assassin's Creed, in the sense that they introduce a historical character in every single game, and he plays some sort of pivotal role to help the main,
like the allies of the assassins, which was a great thing. I mean, they added him all the way
at the end. So it's not, and the best part about it is they didn't shove him in your face.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just a quick cameo. Yeah. Oh, look who it is, Christopher Columbus. That's cool, and then it ends how it should be done.
It was good. I like that whole part. Again, the creators of the film, they really stayed true to the video game series. Obviously you can only have so much, in a 2.5 hour, kind of time span that you want to put in. So, some of the traditional things about, like the video game, right? They're missing from it. Obviously, like these puzzle quests, all this stuff. This is not a Sans
Prince of Persia series. It's very heavy on puzzles. But the thing is, I would say the negative, because I'm always negative on the show, because fuck you, it's my show. And one of the negatives is that I missed the puzzle aspect, because there's one particular scene in the movie where there could have been a puzzle aspect to it, and they kind of gloss over. But then when I really think back on it,
I'm gonna ask everybody right now.
Okay.
If a movie spent about 5 minutes, on a guy trying to solve a puzzle like you would in the first Assassin's Creed games, I mean, how interesting would it be? This was an action-based movie.
I'm saying
this was an action-based movie.
Okay, you could have an action-based movie. So you can tell me you can't have a parkour aspect where he's hopping.
There was the whole parkour aspect.
That was amazing.
Awesome.
No, that was fantastic. But I want to see it like.
This is something again you guys are gonna love about the movie. There's a lot of action. I mean, there are very
just
few.
Quick.
Yeah, there are very few emotional scenes back to back. Like some of the storyline, but a lot of it is just action-oriented. You see assassins take on just swarms of them.
It just never ends.
And it's awesome. Something that you love, about Assassin's Creed game. Like once you, upgrade your guy and everything, and sometimes you just want to get into a rumble and tumble with all the guards and whoever else you can piss off in the game, just try to take them all out at once. There are plenty of scenes like that. So if you really like action, you're gonna enjoy them. I'm telling you guys.
The movie's amazing. I honestly cannot find that many faults in it, but the faults I did find are very minuscule. I mean, honestly, if you don't really even pay attention that much, you might not even notice them. Right. And the only two ones I had was number one was just I wanted some puzzles, because I felt like Assassin's Creed 2 had a lot of good puzzles in it. Puzzles are interesting. They gave depth to the game, and also this movie does something really, really well that the Assassin's Creed series I don't think does as well, because the Assassin's Creed series gives you a lot of time to do side quests. Yeah. And granted, for an overall story in the video game, it's very helpful because you get to build a certain relationship with Altair. Yeah. So in the first game, when you play as Altair, you have these side quests, so you build a relationship to Altair. So it means you have a feeling for him. So whenever he gets hurt, you actually you feel bad for him when something bad happens to him. And this movie sort of glosses over, but it does it in such a way where it keeps the focus on the main story, and you still feel that there's a huge character build from Colin Lynch, who plays Michael Fassbender's character, and his assassin counterpart, and you feel for both of them. So again, this is a huge spoiler. I guess his love interest, the assassin's love interest, gets killed in front of him. And even though you don't really see them have like that much interactions, you still feel her death. Like it still affects you because it affects him, and you're just so on his side that you want him to just, I guess, get with her at the end. And he watches that. Essentially, he watches it happen. Even though he tries to do the right thing by withdrawing his blade, it's that part where he realized that he lost. That because he didn't do the right thing at the time, he cost her life.
Well, I mean, it's that whole scene, and we're kind of like flying around all over. So, so the movie starts out with, right, you're going to see a scene of a young boy, which is Carl Lynch, played by Michael Fassbender, that's right. And, obviously it starts to hint on that he's an assassin, right? You have an eagle flying around over there and everything. It was a pretty cool scene. You see him kind of like messing around. Things go dark real quick. They really do. I mean, within the first like 10 minutes of the movie, you see Carl Lynch's mother. She's dead. The father killed her, and you're like, wait, what?
That just happened.
Why did this happen? And then all of a sudden, the house is surrounded by Templars. Carl Lynch's father tells to run. Right? He runs, and then the movie straight goes into you got Carl Lynch, and he's on death row. So
you have no idea what happened. But you're like, okay, sure. That's where logically the next step is to go to prison.
And it's like, so this guy is like, he's 20 years of his life, right? And just like how his life was, during some of the scenes in the movie, you find out a little bit of what happened to him, but again, going back to the scene, so he's sitting there on death row, and I thought it was really, really, because things just went dark quick. And I mean, and I realized why, it's like creators that they want to get right into the assassin part, they're like, this is what we're gonna do. So Michael Fassbender, he's laying on the table, right? He gets injected,
He dies.
injection,
And
supposedly he dies, right? He wakes up, he's in Abstergo. You're like, whoa. This,
That's
I'm like,
awesome.
so they're getting right into, so
Yeah.
a lot of these action movies, they have some of these like drawn out scenes, for example, you got Fast and Furious, right?
at least 20 minutes of the first of each movie is just settled to, we got asses, we got nice fast cars, and Don is saying family a lot.
Yeah, I mean, in many of these action movies, right, they just got some like fillers.
For no reason.
It's like, they couldn't come up with anything, to like put it into a movie, so they're like, oh, we're gonna go talk about this, we're gonna talk about, and it makes absolutely like, well, how's this relevant to us,
Yeah.
So in this movie, there was absolutely none of that. It was like, I mean, it's going from one scene to the next, and everything is connected.
Yeah.
To the point of where you're like, okay, I see the logical sequence of everything that's going on, and it's really, I mean, it's almost like you're watching. You wish you could be playing this right now. That's
the entire time I was watching this,
You're
in
like-
my head, I'm like, I should go home right
I
now,
know.
put in my Assassin's Creed game, and just play,
play it.
because that's all I want. And I guess in some ways that's kind of what the point of the movie is.
I mean,
It wants you to
seems
play
like
it.
it seems like it's like one big commercial for like a video game. I hope honestly, this is like Spanish Inquisition. I remember like when we were talking about this is going a little bit off track, but again, this is all around Assassin's Creed. And the video game, there were a lot of like, I guess, suggestions being made where the next Assassin's Creed game should take place, right? And we had like Imperial Japan. You
I
had
still want to see that.
you had or like back at like 13th century Japan or some Tokyo somewhere.
So you have
same place.
samurais versus
you have
ninjas, which would be an incredible.
You
thing to
have
see.
the Russian Revolution.
It would have been great, a kind of a current contemporary
yeah, you
piece.
have World War II. There are a lot of suggestions being made, like Mongol, like example, like Altair, for example, right? Like one of his quests was he went to Mongolia, right? So it would have been
be
pretty
awesome to see.
crazy to see him travel through like Central Asia, and shit, going over meeting, Genghis Khan or something like that.
That would be very interesting.
Or fighting them, helping the Russians out, or like during
something interesting.
Yeah. So there were a lot of suggestions, and one of the suggestions that was made was also, Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah.
And we thought that this was going to be, one of the next games. Unfortunately, they never did it. They went right into, the Industrial Revolution that was taking place.
Which
and,
kind of kicked it up a notch,
Yeah.
and I guess that's nice. But
well,
the
I mean,
thing is,
they went from French Revolution, to the Industrial Revolution. So they went from France to England. But it's like,
we've seen that. Like, if I can be honest,
we're not reviewing those
Yeah,
games.
not reviewing.
By the way, there will be, we're gonna have one of these shows where we discuss all of the Assassin's Creed games, and we would definitely love your opinions on it. So share, comment, and we'll engage you guys, especially because this is how things are only gonna get better, especially for movie creators and writers. I mean, if they don't know what we're thinking, and even when we're leaving these comments in like IMDb or any other social network sites and everything, more the merrier, I think. So guys, when you're listening to this, please comment, give us your suggestions, how we can make everything better. So now you got Carl Lynch, now he's in Abstergo, and everything looks, it reminds you a little bit of the first video game.
The very first one has almost everything that you wanted to see.
Except
he's wearing the white shirt.
Yeah.
He has the white pants.
Yeah.
Everything's clean, spotless. It's pretty weird, kind of sci-fi.
Yeah.
Maybe they're from the future. You don't know.
Yeah.
But somehow they're able to amass technology, and you're like, this is interesting. And they're slowly building a world without building a world.
And there's very little introduction. I mean,
no,
it goes
it's just
right
in,
into
like,
they're
this
like,
happening,
they're
this
like,
happening,
we're
this
gonna
happening.
put this guy right into the Animus. He's going right in. So he just wakes up after being dead, supposedly dead, right? He's informed that he no longer technically exists, right? As far as anybody's concerned, by Sophia, who's played by
Marion Cotillard.
I'm probably botching her. I'm botching her last name, Marion Cotillard. But she plays Sophia. She's the head scientist. She's the one that created the Animus and that. And she informs him.
She's basically his first big ally. She's not like on the side to save his life, but she is for preserving his life. Like if he dies, she'll be definitely sad, but she's trying to save him while everyone else is like, we don't really care.
Well, what is the reason for her trying to save him? That's the real.
Well, the reason is
no. Hold on. This is the question that you gotta focus on, right? Why was she trying to save him? Because in the movie you're gonna see that she has a lot of conflict with her father. So I'm not gonna give away too much about that. I'm gonna let you look at that and judge for yourselves. But she has some conflict with her dad.
Definitely.
And now is she trying to save his life, right? Or does she need to preserve him long enough to achieve the ends?
The entire time, that's all I was thinking, because she kept going on and on that this is about solving violence, curing violence.
Yeah.
This is like
That's
the
big
overarching story.
Exactly.
And I say this is a negative. I'm gonna say this is a negative. And the reason for it is that it literally goes against everything that we are as people.
Well, I mean, this was her rationale. That's the thing.
Well,
right?
it was a whole Abstergo thing, like this.
No. That was just her rationale.
Right.
She's like saying, you know, we want to eliminate violence. We want to make lives safer for people, right? And by searching the apple of Eden, the artifact that they're looking in this movie, you're gonna see that, you know, they want to eliminate violence. They want to save mankind from itself. But again, going back to the movie, right? You're gonna see it. Carl Lynch, he's put right into the Animus, right? And it goes in, and you're right there. You know, 15th century Spain, and it's incredible. I mean, you guys definitely gonna enjoy that scene, and that's the way it goes. So he spent some time in the Animus. I'm not gonna tell you all about the movie, but
I think we should bring something up. In the video games, the Animus is essentially a nice, comfy bed.
Yeah.
And the whole point of that, I guess, is that we don't need to play as this character. We get to play as the real hero of the story. In the first game, it was Altair, and in the second game, you got to play as Ezio. And so the whole point of the video game is that you didn't care about Desmond Miles. You cared about Ezio or Altair. In this movie, the Abstergo machine is like this giant claw that attaches around his waist, and then it attaches I guess like a little device into the back of his neck, which allows him to enter into the past, and he needs to synchronize. But one of the interesting things they did is very similar in the game. In the game, in the first game, you couldn't be in the Abstergo system for too long because it said it might destroy your consciousness. And they brought that into the movie, showing like the connection between the movie and the video game, that they are still keeping it as it is a video game based movie.
Yeah.
Which I love that. They didn't break off that.
They kept a lot of the same aspects, you know, from the original game. So,
honestly,
you know,
it kind of felt like it was the original.
You couldn't be in the machine too long. You know, there were side effects of it. You know, and so those are the things that you see with Carl Lynch that he experiences. You know, so it's the first scene in Carl Lynch wakes up, and then he gets introduced to the rest of Abstergo. Kinda, you know, you kind of see how big this building is, right? And then you see there are other fellow assassins. So you could, you know, like you start to think to yourself, well, how long have these guys been doing this? Because they're just like capturing these assassins.
Essentially, they're kidnapping people.
They're kidnapping people and then making them remember their ancestor, right? And then in turn they become assassins. And you could it's just like an entire prison. Even though they say it's not a prison,
it's a prison because
you can't leave.
What happens is one of the assassins, he asks like, okay, so we've given you what you wanted. Can you let us go? And she looks at him and she doesn't answer, but you can tell that you're not going anywhere. And if you are leaving, it's gonna be in a body bag. Because the thing is, once they introduce you into their order, tell you that, hey, we're Templars, we have essentially conquered the earth through the means of politics and commerce, we kind of control the world, so we can't let you go because you might tell somebody.
Exactly.
And even if you are crazy.
And the actor that, you know, that asked that question, that was Michael Kenneth Williams. Again,
he's an amazing actor in the movie.
He's good. I mean, he plays, again, a very, very, very minimal role. And you see as well as the other assassins, you know, they play very, very minimal roles.
And I actually enjoy
many of them didn't even have, like, lines in the movie. But again, this is like, you could see that they're building up to something else.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, the whole aspect was focused on Carl Lynch, you know,
like the video game is supposed to be. In the video games, nobody gives a crap about the side characters because you're not playing as side characters. You're not playing as your best.
I wouldn't say nobody cares, right?
Well,
but it's, you know, the side characters, they add to the story.
Yeah, they add to the story. So, they don't add anything to the characters you're playing as. Like again, without them, you would still
like we said earlier, though. You know, you have 2.5 hours. This isn't like you know, a 60-hour game
where you have the chance to build the entire story. This is like quick, and that's what I love about it. They kept it focused on what's important. What's important? Find the piece of Eden. How do we find the piece of Eden? We have to make him synchronize fully so that he can show us where he hit it. That's it. And they kept the focus there, and I loved it.
Exactly.
They never went off tangents. And even there was a kind of one tangent, but I guess that was just for character building between Sophia and her father, where just to show off that there's a little.
That's just showing you the backstory, really, of what's going on with the Templar Order. You know, just so Sophia, she's obviously, you guys probably already realized, Sophia, you know, the scientist that created the Animus, she's up with other assassins, and this guy, he's like, whoa. Like, what is going on over here? He's completely lost by it, you know. Michael Fassbender, you know, he was he's great. I mean, it's just so entertaining to watch him in that particular scene when he meets all the assassins. It gets really, really funny, and you know, and then quickly after that, right, you could see how he starts to almost evolve, right? Because he's starting to reconnect with his ancestor.
But what I really found interesting was that his reconnecting to his ancestor was not something that the assassins wanted. He started to grow angry over his synchronization with the assassins because he's starting to see that neither side cares about him. that the assassin side just wants him to return to his assassin so he can be some sort of master for them.
Yeah.
And all the Templars want is the apple. Nobody really cares. And then when they said, like, you cannot give them what they want because you'll destroy our creed, he's like, I don't give a shit about your creed. And I'm like, he shouldn't. He has no obligation to the assassins. They weren't there for 30 years, so he has no reason to help them.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah,
And so you
obviously,
understand.
yeah, but these assassins, they've been locked up there for a while, so they,
Yeah, but that's not his
they all
fault.
created like this whole little bond, and now they themselves feel like they're part of this bigger mission to save humanity. And initially, Carl Lynch, he kind of rejects it. He's like, I really don't want anything to do with this. I just kind of like, what do you want from me? You want that?
And then he does it, which it was very interesting.
The thing is, right? I think he understood the significance as everything progressed. Because there's the whole, I guess, the motive behind, the whole premise in the movie. It's free will or chaos. And the Templars, the way they see free will leads to violence. Violence leads to chaos, and chaos ultimately leads to destruction and death. The Assassins, on the other hand, right? They're like, people should be the masters of their own fate. Really, whatever happens, right? But people should still live free because freedom is worth whatever else that we have to face.
Right.
And I think that's what Carl Lynch in the movie he begins to realize as the story unfolds. Especially after that the scene where he's introduced to all the assassins, and he kind of rejects them.
Well, the thing is, I like that he did reject it because honestly, that's a normal reaction to something like this. You're essentially being asked to join a cult of people who believe that there is either God created this item or there's ancient beings that created this item. But whatever it is, it's some weird cult that's fascinated with this, and you're forced to join them or they're going to kill you. So he has no real loyalty to them, and that was very interesting because he's not like the basic hero that you think he is. That he just does the right thing, and he, no matter what the obstacle is, he'll do the right thing. No, he chooses to join the Templars and actually go into Animus willingly to give them what they want because he disowns the Creed because the Creed destroyed his life. And that's awesome.
But going back, I want to just go back to the scenes. So you have all these the main scene where Carl Lynch, he meets all the assassins. He goes back, starts to synchronize even more with his ancestor, right? And then he goes back into the Animus, right? Again, bunch of action, crazy scene, and again, it goes back to the way the video game is. Now, this would be like in the middle of the video game scene. Like as it's more developed, you begin to understand the significance of this apple, what it can do, what the Templars want to do with it, right? So it's not really about fighting violence. It's about what? It's ultimately about power and control.
So it's about power.
That's really it. And under the guise of, hey, we're gonna save you and protect, humanity from violence and murder and death and all this, right? And all you would have to do is sacrifice your free will. That's it. So live as slaves, but
you'll be safe.
But you'll be slaves.
Yeah.
And you will abide by their rules. But we're not going to be subject to those rules.
Yeah.
So, in any case, going back, great scene. You guys are going to enjoy it. We're not going to go too much about it. Chase fighting scene, again, everything that you love about an action movie, the way you would imagine, there's another assassin in there, obviously. We may mention of it. You're gonna enjoy.
And then the final sequence occurs,
and then
where finally he finds the apple. I don't want to ruin anything, so essentially he gets the apple and he shows them who he gave it to, and he leads them to where they hide the apple.
Right. So after the third, I guess, Animus sequence. The final one where they, the assassins get the apple from the Templar. Well, not from the Templars.
Not really.
But they get it. You'll see where they get it from. Again, it's gonna go back into this whole historical aspect of. So, go ahead.
Right. So with the final sequence, my issue was they do find the apple. And they find it, I guess, kind of easily, which I was like, alright, but I kind of knew that the movie was sort of wrapping up and they couldn't really add in any more, because that would just, like, force more action sequences when there really didn't need to be any more action sequences. And so when they finally, when the Grandmasters of the Templars finally do get the apple, they bring together all the Grandmasters of the Templars into one area in Britain. And that's when Michael Fassbender, the character, returns, and you find out that he's fully synchronized with his assassin counterpart, which has allowed him to fully take control of his abilities as an assassin. And then he essentially kind of becomes a Grand Master of the Assassin Order because he kind of recreates it pretty quickly, which it kind of needed to happen because that's how most of the video games work. You You're sort of an assassin at the beginning. You slowly build up, level up, more armor, more weapons, and you become Grandmaster. And the movie finally ends with Sophia not really allowing it. Well, she kind of allows Michael Fassbender to kill her father and take the apple back and leave. Which okay, wow. I thought this was another really bad part. Her character change is so quick.
But the thing is, right? It's why? Because this is what I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
She has a bigger vision. Her father, he was limited to what he was seeing. He's like, I'm gonna destroy the assassin order by using this.
Right, the apple.
She's like, wait a minute. I thought we were gonna go
Save the world.
save the world. The guy's like, let's be realistic over here, right? We gotta kill these guys, and we're gonna use the apples.
Right, but wouldn't she eventually have to kill her father to make her vision matter?
And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, but then she got very upset, like, oh, you killed my dad. I'm gonna find that apple.
Or did she?
Well, she said I'm gonna find that apple.
She was upset about losing the apple.
Yeah, but the dad's dead. Don't you think you could, like?
No, obviously she has a bad relationship with her father, and you guys will see it in the movie. You know how it all develops and stuff. How different these two sides are actually going to mean. Now, the Sophia, she's going to be taking over, you know, the Templar Order. You know, she's going to go on with her mission. And Carl Lynch, you know, now he's. Like, we need a sequel right now.
I love everything about this movie. I usually give movies a really bad grade. This time, I'm gonna give it 2 grades. First time ever. As a video game, it gets a 9 out of 10.
As a video game.
Because there's no puzzles, and I want those side quests. As a movie, it's a 12 out of 10. Shut up, this is my rating. 12 out of 10. For a video game-based movie, this is a 12 out of 10, hands down.
Well, I don't know. For me, I think like I'm a big action movie guy. I love action movies, and you know I really think this is up there. I mean, it really is.
What's your rating?
Action movie.
1 out of 10. What do you get?
I don't do 1 out of 10s, but I do on a scale of 1 to 5, right?
Okay. Man knows what he wants.
And I'm thinking, I'm really thinking, judging it as a video game based movie, and an action movie. This is a 4 out of 5.
A 4 out of 5.
Easily. And guys, you may disagree with me, but this movie was definitely better than Rogue One.
Oh,
by the way,
so much better.
By the way, we'll be putting out
a much longer one.
A podcast where we're just discussing Rogue One. We would like your active participation in it. You know, obviously you can't participate while we're doing this, right? But I mean, comment. You know, let's get into a discussion about this because I honestly feel that they messed up in Rogue One, but we could talk about this in the other podcast. Ryan, going back to Assassin's Creed, guys, it is a great movie. You
need to see it. I want to see it again. Like the second that it ended, I was like, I have to see it a second time, watch it again. And a third time.
So it's like, seriously. I mean, the last time I felt that way that I want to rewatch an action movie was Batman: Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Rises. I mean, Civil War.
Right.
Was
probably up there.
Dark Knight. Yeah, you're right.
Dark Knight, yeah. That one I want to see 4 or 5 times. This movie I want to see 3 or 4 times because it is just so. I've never seen this, man. Video game based movies, for the most part, don't give a shit about the video games. It's just, hey, there's a populace. They like this. We're gonna make a movie. If it's shitty, it's shitty. Who cares? They're just a bunch of nerds. These guys actually worked with Ubisoft together to create this beautiful movie. They gave respect to the game, and that's all I want from video game-based movies. Respect the lore.
Yeah, which they did. They really did in this movie. Though probably most of you got breaks and whatnot. Probably thinking, like, what am I gonna do? Guys, go watch that movie. Watch this movie. Watch this movie. You're gonna love it. Again, please comment. You know, share it with your friends. Let's get into a big discussion about this movie. I'd really love to hear your thoughts. Alright, this is well, actually I didn't even introduce myself.
Introduce yourself.
You know what? No, I'm just gonna be as the brother. That's it. I'll be as the brother.
Alright.
And this is the brother and Lex. Yo, this is Brothers and Such. Guys, this was fun. Lex, thank you for having me on the show.
Anytime you're more than welcome to join me anytime you want. I enjoy doing this episode with you. I want to do another one. There will be more in the future. Thank you so much for listening. And this is the Setup signing.